Hello, I'm Alex Rude, and I'm going to be your host today for November/December Variety Hour, which is the last Variety Hour of 2024. We have some great speakers lined up today, as well as a quiz from Talia Speaker and our ad break by Vanessa Reyes. Our speed talks today are from Robert Long, excuse me. Diane, I wasn't able to check how to pronounce your last name. How do you say it?
Detoeuf.
Detoeuf. Okay, we've got two French people in the house today, it sounds like. Kooi Chee Ho, Vincent Blanqué, and Vincent's going to be finishing things up with his longer speed talk. So first off, I'm going to pass it over to Robert to kick things off by telling us a little bit about a wildlife scent dispenser that is being used to survey rare carnivores. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and you can take it away, Robert.
Hey, thank you. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Great. Well, thanks everyone. It's great to be here. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about a device and actually a full method that we developed for use in the Pacific Northwest for studying some rare carnivores. And the talk today is partly about the device, which you see here, a scent dispenser, but could more appropriately be called kind of a protocol for using camera traps and scent dispensers together. So I'm going to be talking more about that protocol here today. So as a little bit of history, back in 2013, we started working with the Forest Service here in the Pacific Northwest and the Cascades. Wolverines had started to recolonize the Cascades. They had been totally gone from the US, and by the 90s, early 2000s, they had been recolonizing. And we were trying to figure out a way to monitor that recolonization of this really rare large mustelid. It can be done with camera traps. Many people do study wolverines with camera traps. They bring baits in and they use these devices called run poles, but it does require getting a bait into the camera trap repeatedly over the winter, which is when these animals are surveyed. So in the Cascades, we have very few roads or trails and high avalanche risk. So we were trying to figure out a way that we could actually keep a scented bait or attractant at a camera trap through the entire winter. Luckily, we had a relationship with Microsoft Research, and an engineer named Mike Sinclair came to our rescue, and we started working with him and a biologist colleague from Idaho Fish and Game, Joel Sauter, and we ended up coming up with a new research device. We invented a wildlife scent dispenser. At first, it was just a few components in a metal box, but we were able to test it by deploying it in the Cascades at about 12 feet up in a tree because over the winter, the snow goes up and down. So we needed it high with a camera. Here's the location in the Cascades. We tested it in areas where wolverines were known to occur already because we had them on transmitters. We deployed them. This is actually some of the summer photos from the Cascades, which you can see even in summer, pretty difficult to get into. And it was highly successful. We had wolverines detected even months after we had deployed these camera traps at multiple locations. It kind of exceeded our expectations. And in addition to wolverines, we also had a suite of other non-target species, but also species of conservation interest, like wolves, like lynx, like fishers. So it really was a successful test of this method. Since then, we've changed the design quite a bit. It's now all the components are housed in this ABS tube, and we have the interior part made by a couple of local companies. It looks like this. These are both sides of the inside, just to give you a sense. I don't know if you can see my pointer. Can you see my pointer? Okay. On one side is the PCB that Microsoft created for us, and eight AA battery pack here. On the other side is the pouch that holds a scent lure up to 21 ounces. And then here at the bottom is the peristaltic pump. And basically, the only thing this device does is dispense a tiny little bit of scent lure out the bottom once a day, once every 2 days. It's programmable. But that's enough to attract animals. So there's a cutaway of the pump you can see in that lower chamber. It's enough to attract animals to the device throughout the winter. We also tested it here at the zoo with our 2 very large grizzly bears, and it is definitely bear-proof. Sometimes they'll get it off the tree, but they can't get into it for a reward. So it's a non-food reward for other animals. Earlier this year, we finally published the protocol in Ecology and Evolution, so you can see it there. I'll put a link in the chat afterwards. But essentially, the dispenser is hung over a bone, just a beef bone, that collects that liquid scent that drips out. And then at the bottom on the right-hand side, you can see these are gun cleaning brushes. This is a hair snagging array so that we can get DNA from some of the animals that visit. Here's the camera that's deployed opposite, and it's turned on its side, which is different than most camera trap deployments. And that gives us this big vertical view that we can see animals from the ground in non-snow all the way up to the actual bone in the winter. There's the camera with we deploy it with a roof over the top of it to protect it from snow and precipitation. This is the entire setup. This image is in the publication, so you don't have to look too closely, but kind of lays out exactly the protocol. And we're actually now producing these for other projects, making them available and selling them through the zoo. Our zoo staff does some of the heavy lifting in terms of cutting the big parts. And then we've got a little maker shop where volunteers assemble these devices. So we order all the parts and our zoo volunteers are able to assemble them. We have sold about and deployed about 300 each year over the past 3 years across, and they're being used across Western North America right now on a number of different, mostly mustelid focused projects, but starting to expand on that. These are some of the details from the manuscript. Again, you can just see all the different species on the left that were detected. This is over a 2-year period in Washington. And then you can see on the right, the detections over the course of the whole year. So you can see that different animals are detected fully, not just in the winter, but through the entire year. This is a little dense to go into, but it's also in the paper. It's the detections, the repeat detections at an individual site over the course of the deployment. So you can see that animals aren't just visiting once and then realizing there's no food reward and not coming back. They tend to come back over and over, which is important for things like occupancy modeling, where you want repeat detections over time. I'm going to skip that. We're actually have ongoing research and development on this project. We're constantly trying to upgrade the device based on feedback from the field. Right now in the upper left, you can see a brand new PCB or control board that's going to be rolled out starting next year. It's programmable. It's got an LCD screen, kind of like a camera trap. You can set it to delay the start. So you could deploy this unit in the summer, and then after bears maybe go into hibernation, have it turn on in the winter so that it's not running all summer. We're also moving to a new injection molded inside part that's going to be much simpler to assemble and much stronger and ultimately cheaper. And then we're experimenting with some other ways of including the scent lure. This is just a bottle off the shelf so that people could use different types of bottles if they wanted to for their scent lure. To wrap up and ask for this group is that there are lots of use cases we've brainstormed for this. For example, not using an attractant, but using a deterrent for things like keeping ungulates out of orchards or keeping wolves away from livestock. We haven't tested a lot of those, so if you have a project that you think has a good use case, I'd love to chat with you, and maybe we can get a couple of the devices out for testing in your region for your objectives. So those are the requests, and yeah, I can take a question or two if I have time, and I'll try to stick around after, depending on when we finish. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. That is so cool. And now I feel like I'm about to go down a rabbit hole of the world of those bags of scents and like who makes those and how those are formulated. And I love the North Cascades region, so I love hearing about that as well. I'm going to direct you to the chat for any other questions or potential collaborations that people might be putting in there. But thank you so much, Robert, for that awesome talk. Next, I'm going to pass it over to Diane, who's going to be introducing us to some of the grievance redress mechanisms that Wildlife Conservation Society uses. So Diane, if you are able to share your screen. It's all yours, and if not, I can jump in and share it for you.
Great. Thank you, Alex. Let me try and share it from my computer. Can you still hear me okay?
Yep, you sound good.
All right. I'm not sure I'm sharing the right one. Just try again. Okay, that one. All right. So you should be able to see the first screen with the Grievance Redress Mechanism. Are you able to see that? Great. So I'm going to talk about our grievance and feedback, actually, redress mechanism, not just for grievances. And I'm not going to talk too much about why we need it and all the requirements and all the work with the communities today, because I have only 5 minutes, but I'm going to focus on the technical aspect. I still want to just give you like a really short definition of what is a grievance redress mechanism. It's a transparent and unbiased system where credible grievances are tracked in a confidential, secure database across standardized procedural steps to assess, address, and mitigate or resolve concerns. And I have a link to our grievance website where you can find our policy and other useful resources on our GRM. And so how does it work? So we have 3 components for making our GRM successful. We have the submission part in the field. And of course, before that, there is all the setup with the communities. Then we have internal management, and then we have the resolution. And what I'm going to talk about today is the middle part, the internal management, which is where we use a few tools and technologies to help us track those grievances and submissions. And so the way we have developed it in WCS is that we take all the submissions coming from all the various channels. It can be suggestion boxes, we have free hotlines, it can be through a text message, through just person to person, giving a grievance, postal letter or whatever. And then all these data, we enter it into a KoboToolbox form. Then from KoboToolbox, we use Open Function, which is a data integration software, to send those grievances to Asana. And we use Asana to track those cases and to track how we resolve them and all the steps taken for resolution. So the first thing is that we create the grievance intake form with KoboToolbox. KoboToolbox, probably you're aware of what it is. It's like a free and open source data collection tool. It's based on Open Data Kit. And it's very user-friendly. We have template forms, and then our teams, they take the template form, they adapt it to their needs. And so each site has its own grievance intake form. And of course, they can open it offline to enter the data in the field. And we can also make it available online on a website or share it via any channel so that people can directly submit grievances. Then from KoboToolbox, we use Open Function, which is a data integration platform, which is an independent system that fetches the data from KoboToolbox and puts them into Asana. We use OpenFN for other data as well. It can take data from any system to any other. And so here, every hour, OpenFN will check if there are new grievances in KoboToolbox and send them to Asana. Then in Asana, which is normally project management software, we have one grievance or suggestion that is one task in the Asana database. And so one task is a task that the team needs to resolve, right? So they will need to take different steps to resolve it. And the good thing about Asana is that we have a set of automatic workflows and rules that help our staff on the ground to manage, to track the grievances, to manage all the steps for resolution, to also talk to each other. We need to share some information with other people in WCS to be able to resolve, etc. And we have automatic alerts for most severe grievances. And so just going to show you a few like screenshots. I hope you can see it. It's a bit small, but let's say we have a grievance coming in. The first thing is that they review all the information that are submitted, and then they can grade it. And the grade gives us an idea of how severe it is. Then the great thing about Asana is that all the activity is logged. And this is very important for such, a sensitive system. Every activity that is happening in Asana regarding the grievance is logged, and we see comments and we see everything that is done with it. And so we can add comments to say the step that we've taken. We've called this person to ask for more information. We've done this and that. We can add attachments, and photos and everything. And we can see how the cases is being resolved and how it is moving through the different steps in our Asana database. And when it's completed, it goes into our close resolve sections. And so also with that, we can monitor easily like how many are being resolved, how long it takes to resolve. We also have, we can also analyze how many cases we have per different type of grievances, per location of grievances. And so we do a lot of also analysis and monitoring to see a bit what's happening with all the submissions that we are obtaining. And so I said I was not going to dig too much into why this is important. I just wanted to mention that a GRM is not just about receiving complaints, but it's about building stronger relationships with the people that we work with, ensure we are accountable and responsive. I also want to say that at the moment, about half of the submissions that we are getting are actual grievances, and all the half are feedback, questions, requests for assistance. So that's quite an interesting point. And just want to finish by saying thank you to everyone for listening, but also a big shout out to our teams in the ground who are doing an amazing job to work with the communities to set up those systems. The technical part is just, one aspect of the grievance redress mechanism, but really what's important is the community engagement parts and everything that the team are doing to resolve all those grievances. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that. I think it's important to be talking about these different systems that can help us build strong relationships with the communities and people that we're working with. So thank you so much for that. I definitely have questions, but I don't think we have time to talk about them live. So I'm going to drop my questions in the chat. And in the meantime, I'm going to pass it over to our last speed talk from Kooi Chee Ho, who's going to be talking about some solutions that are being developed to mitigate the impact of fishing trawlers on marine life in Malaysia. So Kooi Chee, you can go ahead and share your screen and take it away.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Casey from Marine Research Foundation. So today I'm going to share about some solutions that we try to mitigate the impacts of trawlers on sharks and rays in Malaysia. So we are based in Sabah on the Borneo side of Malaysia, and this is where we are. And this Sabah state has the highest number of trawl vessels among other states compared to other states in Malaysia. And since 2019, we have been working on the issue of sharks and rays bycatch in fisheries, especially for the commercial trawl fisheries. So bycatch is non-target species that is caught unintentionally by fishermen, so including the sharks, rays, and sea turtle. Because we have multi-species fishery in our country, and the fishermen can't really choose what they want to catch or what they don't want to catch. So for sharks and rays, they are considered as bycatch. Including the endangered species, they are still legal to be caught and sold in the market due to local and international demand. Okay, so based on previous study, we know what species are sold in the market, but we never know where and when exactly they are being caught accidentally. So the purpose of the study is to determine hotspot areas where most of these sharks and rays are caught. So to find out the location where bycatch happens, we decided to build our own electronic monitoring cameras. So there are some available cameras in the market, but they are quite pricey for us. So we decided to do it ourselves. So we built this GPS linked time-lapse camera with Raspberry Pi, and we work with some local coders to code it to take pictures every 5 seconds continuously for 24 hours. So when we install the cameras, we also install the solar panel, the batteries, and we climb up to the vessels and also adjust the angle of the cameras. And for the camera, it will have a full view of the vessel deck where the fishermen empty their net and sort out their catch. So wherever the fishermen catch, we will know the location and also the date and time. So this is how the system works. The solar panel will charge the battery and the battery will power the camera. Yeah. So this is one of the example of the pictures taken by the camera. So as you can see, there's a coral cat shark being caught, and the image is timed with date, time, and GPS coordinates. So by having this, we will know exactly when and where these species are being caught. So these are some of the examples of the photos taken by the cameras, like the hammerhead shark, zebra shark, wedgefish, guitarfish, and also some rays. And by using this GPS location, we can import them into QGIS, and we can find out this is the hotspot area for the hammerhead shark, for example. And yeah, this is our our final result for the hammerhead shark by catch area. So in this in Sabah, in total there are 71 individuals caught, but almost half of them are caught in this hotspot area. So we can know that, oh, this is a key area to protect hammerhead shark. So what we do is we use this result to propose to the fisheries department, the local agencies, about time area closure to restrict the trawl activities during certain months in this specific area, while the trawlers, they can continue to operate in other areas other than this hotspot area. So in total, in 22 months, we recorded 5,000 sharks and rays by 30 vessels. So we install cameras on more than 30 vessels in Sabah. So in average, there will be 7.6 captures of sharks and rays per vessel per month. And we estimate that in a single year, in the whole of Sabah, more than 138,000 sharks and rays are being caught by the trawl vessels, not including other fishing gear. So to moving forward, we are expanding our project to the other state in Malaysia as well, to collect a more comprehensive data set, as this state has a lot of sharks and rays bycatch as well, while also continue to monitor the effectiveness of the type area closure, which has been approved this year and will be implemented next year in Sabah. But for our next steps, we are trying to upgrade our cameras as well, because for that camera, now currently it works 24 hours non-stop, but we actually doesn't need the camera to work 24 hours, because usually the fishermen only pull their net up to the deck to empty their catch every 4 to 6 hours, and then the amount of time where they sort out their catch on the deck is just 1 to 2 hours. So we are trying to develop a sensor when the fishermen begin to haul, then to trigger the camera to turn it on. So we are developing it with a gyrometer with a relay switch, but I currently have some what we struggle is we try to let the sensors to go into sleep mode, but not sure what other external stuff that can trigger the sleep mode of the ESP and the gyrometer to awake and start working to trigger the camera to operate. Yeah, so that's my question. Yeah, and if anyone know about this area of expert, we can talk more later on. So yeah, there are some take-home messages, and bycatch is one of the greatest threat faced by sharks and rays, and this information can help to develop better fishery strategies but further upgrades are needed for these cameras, even though they are taking pictures and collecting information that we need. But I think we think the addition of sensors and AI capabilities to process the images will help us work efficiently, because now every day we are collecting 17,000 images per camera, and it takes us quite a lot of time to process it. And however, these cameras are one of the effective way to collect data on board. And not only researchers or conservationists, but everyone actually can play a part to save sharks and rays as well. So thank you for our past and current donors to support this project. And if you want to know more about the project, you can scan the QR code to follow us on social media. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think everyone should give it up for Casey, because it is, I think, 12:30 in the morning in Malaysia. So thank you for giving that awesome talk and having it be in the middle of the night. I know I would not be able to do that. So kudos to you. And I think it's so awesome to do some, thank you, Talia, for the clapping emoji, to see that you guys use some of that data to do like policy proposals about when and where people can use fishing trawlers. So that's awesome. Vane is right on time. I'm about to hand it over to Talia and Vane to run our ad break and quiz before we jump into the long talk. So I'm going to pass it over to them for a few minutes of fun.
Hey, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So hey, everyone, and thanks to our amazing speakers so far. So if you are joining for the first time, welcome. And this is part of the event where we share some exciting updates from our programs and community. And today we got some amazing news to share with you. After the success of last year's awards, we are thrilled to announce that WILDLABS Awards 2025 is now open thanks to the support of ARM. This year, we are offering 2 grant categories, 50 and 10K, supporting up to 15 conservation technology projects. And in addition to the grants, winners will also receive engineering and technology support from ARM and guidance from WILDLABS members and our amazing community. Applications are open until February 13, and you can find all the details in our website. Plus, don't miss the opportunity to join our informative webinar on December 19th, where you will be able to learn more about the awards and ask questions. And I put the links on the chat. Probably Alex did already. And second update, we are teaming up again with Dan Morris from Google AI for Nature and Society program to bring you AI for Conservation office hours. This initiative connects conservationists with data scientists from Google and beyond to tackle AI challenges. Applications are open until December 9. So if you're working on conservation and are stuck on an AI problem or just need reassurance that you are going on the right path, this is a perfect opportunity to get personalized support. And you can use the QR, and also I put the link on the chat as well. And we have here Dan and Jake. Do you want to add anything? All right, if not, I can continue to our last update, which is about our annual State of Conservation Technology survey, which is live and open until December 31st. If you are using technology for conservation, we'd love to hear from you. What challenges are you facing? What's working well? Your voice is so important, and it will help us shape a 5-year trend reports and guide future investments in affordable, impactful conservation technologies. It only takes 10 minutes, and every response makes a difference. So please feel free to share it with your networks as well. And we want to hear from as many people as possible. Now it's time for our traditional quiz, and I hand it over to Talia, who has a thematic quiz for us.
Thank you, Vane.
Welcome.
And I'll just share my screen here. So very on brand with the announcements, we are doing a quiz on the state of conservation technology. Oh, my Zoom window disappeared. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So as Vane just introduced, this is research that we've been running every year for a number of years, and some of you may have been taking this survey for years and know about it already, and some of you may be new to it. So As always, just drop your guesses in the chat for what you think the answers are. And some of it has to do with the research and some of it is about the findings in the sector. So we hope that it's fun and educational for everyone regardless. So let's get started. Question 1, in what year did we first run the full State of Conservation Technology survey? Any guesses? I see D, 2021. C, 2020. Got a few C's in here. All right, so the answer to this one is C. Well done. Some of you knew 2020. So we have been surveying the community since 2015, but initially it was just focused on asking WildLabs community members about their experiences and suggestions for WildLabs. So the first time we did the State of Conservation Tech research was in 2020, and we published in 2021. Yes, put up a trick question. Okay, and then this has actually stayed consistent through all of the years of the data, which is frequently reported, is always reported as the most widely used conservation technology group, do you think? Seeing lots of bees. All right, yes, you got it. Camera traps. So each year, over 50% of survey respondents report working with camera traps. And this little animation shows that there's obviously some variation in that, but it still consistently comes out as the top technology every year. Okay, regarding perceived potential, which is we ask people, how are these tools currently working for you? And then basically, if the functionality issues were addressed, how much potential do you think this technology has to advance your conservation work? And so regarding that question, which technology group do you think dropped from the top 3 to nearly the bottom of the list between 2020 and 2022? Biologgers, AI tools, network sensors, or eDNA and genomics? I also love this font, Dan. Thank you very much. All right, we're seeing some A's, some C's. B, C. The answer to this one is D, eDNA and genomics. So we saw that you can see here. Oh, okay. Oops, sorry. So you can see it's up in the top 3 in 2020, and then in 2022, it's close to the bottom there. And we think this is pretty much exactly following the hype cycle, getting to this peak of inflated expectations, and then this, what they call the trough of disillusionment, before we get to kind of the plateau of productivity where we're getting to useful applications. Which of the following are consistently reported to be the top challenges facing our sector? Financing, coordination, and capacity building, ethics, market confusion and hype, matchmaking, scaling, and keeping up with conservation challenges, or we are perfect and have no problems. Lots of A's. C, A. Yes, Frank does know that it's A. Financing, coordination, and capacity building are consistently the top challenges reported from the community. Although this challenge of matching tech to conservation needs appropriately is also frequently at the top. All right, on average, how much more likely is an end user from a low-income country to report struggling with accessing local tech suppliers? 10 times more, 5 times more, 2.5 times more, or 1.5 times more? B's, A's. All right, those of you who said B, you are correct, 5 times more likely. And upfront costs, maintenance costs, and accessing training, mentoring, and advice are also significant barriers. And this was one of the motivations for us moving more into the on-the-ground capacity building work that we're doing in the Women in Conservation Tech program and what many other folks are working on too. But we see that it's really a significant challenge and seems to increase with every year that we get more data. All right, on average, how much more likely is a woman to report struggling securing seed funding to develop conservation tech compared to male colleagues? Seeing some C's, B's. This one is indeed C, 2.5 times more likely. And then some of the other top challenges reported by women are accessing testing sites, funding throughout the development cycle compared to initial seed funding, and then accessing relevant data as well. All right, I think this is our last one. What do WILDLABS members report struggling with less than non-members do? Accessing relevant training, accessing mentoring and advice, matching technology to conservation challenges, or all of the above? Lots of D's. All right, yes, all of the above, which we love. So you can see some of the details on that question here. So that is it for our State of Conservation Tech quiz today. Thank you for playing. Excellent work, everyone. I was impressed by the level of responses, actually, that you guys knew this pretty well. And again, just to give you the link to contribute to this year's data, as Vane said, this is the 5th annual survey, so we'll be doing a bigger report, and we would love to have your perspectives included in that. Thank you so much.
Thank you both for that great quiz and ad break. Everyone take the survey, please. We love your perspectives, and then your data can be featured in the 5-year trends report, which is super exciting. All right, so now we're going to move into the final section. I'm going to hand it over to Vincent Blanqué to talk about the UN Biodiversity Lab. So Vincent, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, you can take it away.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for the invitation and the organization of this very interesting event. So today I will present our platform, UNBL, the UN Biodiversity Lab. It's a platform empowering conservation and sustainable development decisions. I'm Vincent Blanqué. I'm part of the digital transformation team at UNEP WCMC, and I'm working mainly in 2 projects, Protected Planet and UNBL, the UN Biodiversity Lab. You can access the platform through this link, unbiodiversitylab.org, and I will start my presentation. You hear me fine?
Yep, it sounds good.
Okay, perfect. So UNBL is a spatial data tool for decision making. It facilitates access to the best available global spatial data and custom develop analytic tools, to generate insights, impactful measures for conservation and sustainable development. UNBL is an open source GIS platform. It allows you to visualize global spatial data. We are incorporating some national data in the future. It allows you to generate maps over your own area of interest. It performs very well to do analysis. So with only 1 click, you can return some relevant metrics. And we support users with not necessarily GIS expertise, like some parties or countries don't have the capacity in matter of computation or access to global data sets. So yeah, local NGOs, indigenous communities, and also some researchers. Why UNBL? Well, we know that spatial planning is crucial for conservation action. That's why UNBL brings many relevant global spatial datasets. We have around 300 datasets already uploaded, which represents almost 1,000 layers. At the moment, the team of UNBL is developing a new spatial planning tool to support ZBF, mainly targets 1 to 3, with co-benefits for other spatial targets, including targets 4 to 12 and target 21. And this contribute to a broad-based action by 2030 toward the world living in harmony with nature by 2050. This is a long-term goal. Hopefully, cross the finger that everything will improve. UNBL support parties in commitment to the CBD, the Convention on Biodiversity, led to a 2 times increase in the number of maps produced between the 5 NR report and the 6 report for 55 countries. We are in a partnership between UNEP WCMC, UNDP, and UNEP, but also for the CBD. In 2023, in the 2 years period, 2023 to 2025, new funding allows us to enhance UNBL, adding new features to support countries in spatial monitoring, planning processes, and reporting needs for KM Global Biodiversity Framework. The key features and functionalities of our platform, UNBL, is first to access to spatial data, mainly global. In the future, we are incorporating the possibility of uploading your national. At the moment, you can just connect with your national data through some OGC protocols. Second, you can view and calculate spatial metrics, and we are working on incorporating headline indicators. Third, you can create a UNBL private workspace to support national monitoring systems. If you need a private workspace, you just have to write an email to us and we will activate it for you. In this private workspace, you will be able to upload your own polygons and eventually connect you with your own rasters. Fourth, you can create maps for national reports or for some other purpose. So basically, you can overlay different layers. You can decide the level of zoom, and after you can export it to or print it as a PDF. And finally, we are, as I said, at the moment working to develop a prioritized spatial plan using the ELSA tool, which is a essential life support area, which has been already done for 10 countries, and we are scaling up to make it available for 200 countries. Something new in the platform we have delivered a few months ago, so I invite you to test the platform. Today we deliver a new deployment of the platform to make it much faster and more efficient for our end users. And basically we have 8 dynamic metrics or zonal statistics that are now available at different levels. It could be at continental level, at country levels, or subnational levels. The 8 metrics, the first one is the global land cover on 2022. The second one is protected areas, the percentage of coverage. This is useful for the target 3.1, where you can see how far you are from the goal of 30% protected on marine and terrestrial areas in 2030. This is the main goal. We have also the tree cover loss from 2001 to 2023, which is the information generated by Global Forest Watch WRI, and we are pulling this data to make some nice maps and diagrams. The Biodiversity Intactness Index, which is built in part by UNEP WCMC. This is the version of 2013, but we are up to deliver a new version very soon. The terrestrial carbon density, where you have the biomass carbon and the soil carbon above the ground or below the ground. And you can calculate, in this case for Colombia, there is 42 gigatoneladas, tons, sorry, I speak in Spanish, tons of carbon in the territory of Colombia. We have also another metrics, the Enhanced Vegetation Index, or called also EVI, built on the satellite images MODIS. And we have a time series from 2001 up to 2022, and you can see the trend for the countries. This is kind of interesting because there is kind of a raise in the greenness of some territories. Maybe this is related to climate change. And yeah, this is for this specific metrics. the terrestrial human industrial index, which has been renamed. It used to be the human footprint. And we have 4 years, 2000, 2005, 2010, and the last one, 2013. There is a new one that we are up to upload, so that we will have 5 years. What I learned in the 2 years I'm working now for biodiversity, more than the statue of today, it's also important to try to see the trends along the year to detect how good or how bad are going the country with the different goals, targets, and metrics related to natural conservation and biodiversity. So here we have trying to have more possible time series and to build this kind of graphics to see how is the metrics are improving or not. And finally, we have the monthly fire activity where we can see how much fire each month for Colombia happening. And this is also using information from MODIS. You can connect directly to the map with map.unbiodiversitylab.org/earth, or you can go to the website and click on Launch Map to access to the map. Okay, if I go a bit more in detail, here we have a sample of Thailand with the global land cover, the protected areas. This is a WPL coming from the Protected Planet website, the other project I am working with. We are updating the statistics monthly, and we are now in a process to make it more accurate and speed up the workflow. The tree cover loss, the biodiversity intactness index, the enhanced vegetation index, the carbon terrestrial density, the terrestrial human industrial index. So this is for Thailand, but it's available for the 209 countries, but also for sub-national levels, and the monthly fire activity. The monthly fire activity, we can go deeper to see how it goes. So when it's orange, it's kind of August, and when it's red, it's kind of fire happening in December 2021. Here we have another data set thanks to the program with Planet NICFI, which is a global coverage of satellite images, cloudless, built monthly. This is an overview of August 2024. Now we are around the 5th of December. So tomorrow will be delivered the coverage of November 2024. Basically, we are waiting the last month to be shot by the satellites, and it's built an average of all the pixels without clouds. And this is very useful because on the region tropical areas, it's usually many clouds. So here we can see that we have Colombia without clouds, Ecuador without clouds, which is very difficult to get usually. And this we have this coverage since 2015 up to the latest, it's October 2024, and we are up to upload November 2024. Here you can see at a very high level zoom, the resolution is around 5 meters, which is equivalent to a scale 20,000 in matter of cartography. So thanks to Planet NICFI, we can get access to this information. It's only over tropical areas, but we are up to upload in our platform a coverage for the global without cloud, but it will be only a yearly coverage. Okay, we have, I said, more than 600 global layers. You can overlap many layers in only one view. You can adjust the transparency and the opacity. I think a lack of time, so I will go to the demo very quickly. And the tool we are now building, it's the ELSA tool that has been built for 10 countries. This one has been already implemented for Costa Rica, South Africa, Peru, Colombia. And now we are making this tool soon available for 200 countries. This is related to the project Maps of Hope, where we are doing classification to make a focus on which area to protect, which area to restore, which area to manage, and which area need to do urban greening. This is a spatial planning tools to help the country to prioritize the territories to be conserved. you have access to a micro course of 4 hours. Here are the links. When I will send the PowerPoint to you, you can click on these links to get the access to the course. How you can get involved with us? Well, it used to be 5 steps. Now it's only 4 steps. You can sign up as a user on unbiodiversitylab.org. You can share your data. If there is some collection or data or layers that we don't have, please submit a form and we can curate your data and to see if we can upload it or not. You can share your story with us and you can contact us at the mail unbl@unbiodiversity.org. Okay, thanks for attention. If I have still time, I would like to show a live demo. Please let me know.
Yeah, you've got a few minutes.
Okay, so here I'm connected over Colombia, and you can see the 8 metrics on the left panel. So the global land cover, the protected area, the tree cover loss, which is interesting with the tree cover loss. We have a time series from 2001 to 2013. No, not 13, 23, sorry. You can also decide to only show the last 3 years, and you can move this, and you can disable. And at the bottom, I put the latest coverage. No, this is not the latest. This is December 2018, and I can select September 2024 if I want, etc. And here, what is interesting is you can also download the data of this diagram for Colombia as a CSV. So I will show you now where I have the CSV. Okay, here I have downloaded for you before the land use land cover. So these are all the classes of the land use land cover. You have the square kilometer and you have the percentage, and you can build your report using this data if you want, or you can build another extra diagram if you need. And you can download all these 8 metrics, but also you can download the geotiff of the map. So here I will show you the different layer that we can download. Not all the layer are downloadable at the moment because it depends on the license. If the raster is open data, you can download it as a geotiff, or else you can also download it as a PNG. So I will show you. Here I have an example of the AVI as a PNG, and I have downloaded also before starting. Do you see my screen? So QGIS.
Yeah.
Okay, so here I have downloaded the EVI and I apply a different style. These are the raw data, so it means that if I want, I can click on each pixel and to return the information of each pixel, okay? I can zoom in. So our data, it's open data. We are developing a new catalog soon in order to make our data easier to access. Just a moment, I would like to show you the catalog. So the catalog is here. This is a stack catalog, a spatial temporal asset catalog, where you can access to all our data sets. And yeah, here you have mainly 160 data sets, open data with the license. At the moment, we need to activate a token so that you can access to the data. You can search in the catalog, but to access to the data, we need to activate a specific token, okay? What else I can say? Here I have an example over Peru, which is kind of interesting. So if I show, this is an area in the rainforest, and using the satellite, the coverage planet, we can see that kind of deforestation happen near to protected areas. This protected area is one of the most biodiverse in Peru and Latin America, named El Manu. And fortunately, it seems that this deforestation happened due to big drought last year. And after, in March, happened a big wind and a lot of rain, which provoked some landslide. So this kind of deforestation is not directly caused by human. It's mostly because in the different slopes, when too much rain and a bit of wind, deforestation can happen. So tree loss cover. Hopefully this forest will recover soon, but definitely this has affected the ecosystem and the animals living around. And this is thanks to the satellite images updated, but you can see before and below, and this is updated every month. Okay, here I can show, I don't know if I still have time, but this is an example of Rio Plátano, which is a community, a local community in Nicaragua, which is an indigenous community where unfortunately a lot of deforestation happened. So as I was saying before, the metrics, we can calculate it at a national level, but we can also calculate it for your own area. So if you ask for a private workspace, you can upload your own polygon in a GeoJSON, and after you can, so here I have uploaded in my private network, private workspace, the America Latina and Caribe as a GeoJSON, and this helped me to build the different metrics. At the moment, we have 8 metrics. In the future, we would like to build new widgets to have more metrics here related to the headline indicator for GBF. Okay, I hope everything was clear. Sorry if I've been a bit too fast. But if you have any question, you're welcome. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so
You
much.
are welcome.
Oh, I think I glitched for a second. Thank you so much for that awesome talk and that demo. Is it okay for people to reach out to you with any questions or ideas as they're playing around with this?
I do love questions, so please go ahead if you have questions.
All right. Well, if anybody has, I think that there was one question in the chat about I want to say it was about about resolution, like image resolution. But I know we're just over time here. So I just want to say thank you again to all of our speakers for these great talks and presentations. Robert, Diane, Casey, and Vincent. Talia is going to end the recording now, but everybody's invited to stick around for after hours to have a more casual conversation about the talks that we heard today, or really anything else that's on your mind. So thank you for coming. Happy New Year, happy holidays, and we will see you in 2025.